Okay, it is 9 o'clock on August 22nd, 2017. We'll call the Floyd County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Our first item on our agenda is to approve our agenda, and we have talked a little bit about possibly amending our agenda
And
today.
I would move to amend the agenda to include, I think, discussion on the water source
With the
restoration.
two motions on it.
Discussion or I would say action.
With two motions on it. One to approve the agenda.
One for amending the agenda and then
Amended.
approving the revised agenda.
Okay.
But again, I think, and I understand that typically we don't amend, you know, at the last minute like this unless it's more of an emergency, but there is, I consider, I guess, the date that this is needed as more of an emergency.
All right, I'll second the motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, been moved and seconded to amend our agenda to include the request from the city for a letter of support for a watershed program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Or I would entertain a motion to approve our amended agenda.
And I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve our amended agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 2, public comment. Item 3, review action regarding approval of August 7th and 8th, 2017 meeting minutes. Those in our packet.
I'd move to approve the minutes of August 7th and 8th.
And I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of August 7th and 8th, 2017. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Item 4, review action regarding approval of claims.
And I would move to approve the claims.
Okay,
Second?
been moved and seconded to approve the claims as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Well, item 6, review action regarding EMC terrorism insurance coverage rejection.
This is an annual thing that you all receive and has been recommended in the past by the insurance agency to not have this coverage, to
Reject that.
reject the coverage, yeah.
Is that just because of the cost of it, or
That's what I was
are
wondering.
they avoided
In light of
terrorism?
today's news.
Mark has been to meetings in the past with the two of you and has presented his reasonings. Then I think it was based on what types of terrorism acts were covered, were not likely here.
If you reject this offer of terrorism coverage, that rejection does not apply to fire losses resulting from that. I guess the question is, we could get Mark here at a future meeting to explain it before. Is this for our renewal? Which is good.
So we just have to go through, okay. Well, if he's presented this in the past, I'm fine then with making a motion then to approve the rejection of the EMC terrorism insurance coverage.
Seconded?
Okay, been moved and seconded to reject EMC's terrorism insurance coverage as recommended by our agent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll move on to item 7, review action regarding a liquor license application. Have that from Fingers and Toes. This is for a year-long.
Yep.
Annual.
It's a one-year license, everything's in order. This is her second year.
I was gonna say, we did this before.
Yep.
Mhm.
Then I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve the liquor license application for Mary Ann Carolyn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the liquor license application for Mary Ann Carolyn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Item 8, review action regarding 2 Floyd County license firework permits.
These are both good to go. So I'll just start with the one that was on the agenda a couple weeks ago was the Scott Conlons, and the questions that we had were, I followed up with Randy, the Assistant County Attorney. So some of the questions were, was the insurance enough?
Mhm.
You know, our policy requires the $5 million coverage, and Mark had said that with, you look at that with the policy with the $1 million here and the $4 million here, we have attained the $5 million that's required. So Mark felt that that was sufficient. As far as the reason for getting the license, the consumer fireworks aren't allowed outside of the July dates and the July 4th and the New Year's Eve dates, and so he would not be able to have this display. You would not be able to approve a display for something like this outside of those dates because they're not allowed for consumer fireworks. So if they, and this person has some training, has a certificate from Flashing Thunder, he has he can shoot off the commercial displays as well, and so he's going to shoot off some commercial fireworks as well, which then gives you the opportunity to oversee an application for a display of fireworks, and so that's the purpose of this one. The other question that we had is on the application, it just says, his name is Scott Conlon, it doesn't have that he's doing business as Flashing Thunder. I did talk with Scott about that, and Scott said that he is doing this display, and the Flashing Thunder supports him doing so. He said you could add doing business as Flashing Thunder on the application if you want to, but the insurance covers Scott as well as the county and the property owners. So whether we add it or not, it is
Didn't really matter then.
respect for Flashing Thunder's behind him. And the other issue that we had was, I talked with Randy about, this is at an address that's not the property owner's, the property owner has nothing on the application to sign saying that we're good with having this display at our property. On a consumer, Randy said on a consumer situation, the consumer, whoever's shooting off the display is supposed to have the consent of the property owner. And so he said with commercial that it doesn't read that for commercial, but he said it doesn't hurt to make sure that the property owner is consenting to the event. And so I did talk with the property owner, and this actually happens to be something that they do every year. They've done it for several years, and they've not requested a permit in the past, didn't know that they needed to. And it's a JC's event that they have this display. It's been out at this property every year. They just heard all the commotion about display, the whole issue of fireworks with the legislation. So it's one more event an annual event that they have at their property every year, and so they were making sure they're doing it right.
So we're not getting though anything that's attached to this, saying that the property owner where the fireworks are being shut off
No.
at are okay with
Sure.
this?
So, and again, that's where Randy said, it's clear on the consumer side that to have consent, but in the legislation, there's nothing on the commercial side that says you need to get consent. But he said we get added or not added,
So it's okay.
but as long as we're
All right.
verified that we do have consent.
I
then
would just
have
want to
done
make
that.
sure that there's nothing that could come back on us because we didn't have that
Yeah,
written
no,
permission.
you know, again, it's how we could interpret it, that, was it the intent of the legislator that there should be consent on both types of applications? Or there would be an application for the consumer, but the consent, I would assume must be just a verbal consent or some fashion, but.
I noticed on the difference between the two, Jeff Sherman is not signed this one, the Board of Health.
Yeah, and we just keep missing Jeff. He's okay with it. There's nothing on the Board of Health side on this one. I just need to follow up with his
I
signature.
knew it's gone into mine for 2 weeks, or 2 days.
Yeah, I just, we've talked about it and just haven't had the paperwork. We haven't been at the counter where the paperwork was at. It sat on the counter for a couple of weeks. And he's been in and out numerous times. We just didn't grab him to get the signature, but he is good with it.
Okay.
Just one question on the liability coverage is, the two different applications have a little different numbers. One is 1 million and one is 4 million and one is 1 and 5. So the 1 and 4
That-
combined to meet
That's,
the liability?
yeah, I scanned and emailed this to the 4 million one and asked Mark if does it still meet our requirements, and it does. And he said, because it has the aggregate here, that it makes it all compliant with the 10 million.
Oh, okay.
He said it's all good.
Okay, I make a motion then to approve, separate this application for Scott Conlon, for a fireworks permit.
And I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the fireworks permit applications by Scott Conlon and Sarah Sherman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried.
You were doing both of them? or you didn't?
Actually, I was just, Scott Conlon, those.
You want to do a separate?
So that was the motion,
And I'll second for Scott Conlon.
Okay, move back up. All those in, I'm sorry, been moved and seconded to approve the application for Scott Conlon for a fireworks permit in Floyd County. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Now, go back to
I
Sarah
move to
Sherman.
approve Sarah Sherman's fireworks permit application.
And I will second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the fireworks application for Sarah Sherman, Jane and Displays. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Okay, now we can wait a few minutes until 9:15.
What do you think we'd sign at the bottom of that?
So is that the chairman? You're not hiding it very well.
$10.
Where's where's the signature?
Oh, it must have cut off, just sign on the bottom. It must have cut off on the page. There's so much information on one page that, depending on the
Everyone
printer.
has it.
Yeah, I think that must be where they printed, how they printed it off, because I emailed it to them.
Well, according to my cell phone, it is now 9:15. We'll We'll go to item 5, declare the hearing for the
It's not a
second.
hearing.
Hmm?
It's not a hearing. You already had your hearing.
Okay.
You're just doing the second reading.
At 9:15, we'll have the second reading of the Floyd County Ordinance number 217-2, an ordinance regulating livestock at large, / review action of the second, third, final reading of the ordinance. So, comments at this time?
I guess again, you know, I've said in the past that I continue to try and reach out to people, you know, in the county and getting their feedback. To date, have only had one concern. Everybody else that had concerns in the past, you know, up until we've made this last revision on this ordinance, did again have concerns until this last one was drafted. And I think everybody felt comfortable with this. And I do want to bring up the fact that the majority of the people that I have talked to, in fact, almost all of them, are livestock owners. You know, so they're the ones that, you know, should be able to say if they have any concerns about even their own livestock or having anything happen that would be detrimental, they felt, to them. You know, those are really, I wanted to hear from them. I have talked to some neighbors of livestock owners to also get their feedback, but at this point, the majority of everybody I've spoken to has been in favor of this.
Same with me, I had some, early on, there were some concerns over dog and cat, and when we took that out, I heard from an equal number that wanted to put that back in, so. But anyway, I've not heard from anybody since the hearing of anything about this, other than positive.
Any comment from anyone, any member of the public was there?
I actually haven't seen the last draft. Do you have copies of?
Yes, there it is. Here with me. This is one of the last. So there you go. Anybody else?
So again, we're at a reading, and our choice is to have continue on and have a third reading, or we can wait for third reading.
There's nothing in here to stop somebody.
I want to make sure we give people opportunities. And again, that's what we want to hear from all of you if you have any concerns. So, any comments?
Yeah, I got a comment. I don't own anything, so I mean, I have nothing to lose. But there's nothing in any of this that says I can't come over and turn your cattle out and then you go to jail. How would you like to be a livestock owner? Fred here, we would go to stop him, stop somebody, go up, turn his hogs out, and then he goes to jail.
Well, I think that was a previous question, and that was addressed.
By the
Owner means the
definitions.
person who owns title. If you
Right.
go to 1.1 parentheses 3, or who is primarily responsible for the care and treatment of livestock as provided by the title holder.
He's the one that goes to jail.
We would like to think that our.
But that doesn't stop you from coming and turning her cattle out and her going to jail, and you did the crime.
We would like to think that our law enforcement people are gonna be honest.
Back when I used to own cattle, we had chains on them, bolts through it. You can go back to the police department and check. They were unbolted, the bolt and the nut were put back on, and the chain was found in the weeds. The cattle were out running loose. I'm sure the cattle don't have thumbs to take nuts and bolts off. So you explain it.
And again,
It should be in there to protect the landowner from somebody else coming on their property and turning the cattle loose. That's not right. Also, if a neighbor's fence, which is, the county also owns fences, and they're not up to stuff, and the cattle get out, the landowner, the cattle owner then goes to jail because they didn't take care of their land, and the county then should go to jail because they're not adequately protecting the public from through their fence line.
And again, I would think that everything that is written by Iowa code and what we're supposed to be following along with any ordinance
Doesn't
that
state
we
any of that.
approve. But again, and the law
One
enforcement
at a
center,
time.
and law enforcement center too. Is that not the township trustees also that get notified, and they would be the ones to go out and check it? So I think there's, you know, steps in place to be able to make sure that they're following up with
All
something like
right,
that.
I just want to make sure that nobody complains when, who would go to jail for the county fence line with? You, him, her? Who? Who's responsible?
I think that's.
On a county
addressed in
fence
other
line.
things, Bill, I think
Ah.
that's addressed in other things.
Well, I tell you what,
You're,
right today, you guys are liable
okay,
because your fences are not up to snuff. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Wendy, anything?
In the 3.1, the penalties part, I would like to see a timeline, like how many, within that, let's say 2 warnings, is that 2 warnings within a week, or is there some time available to give that farmer or landowner or animal owner an opportunity to fix those fences, or it's kind of there's no time frame there, and I don't know if that's a law enforcement thing or if that should be written in an ordinance.
And we did discuss that, I think, at one point about, you know, putting that time, some sort of a time frame in there. But I believe when we were talking to Sheriff Crooks, wasn't it that it's something that they would just address? Because they would know what the violations were when they occurred. And then it was my understanding that, again, it's up to them to know that if there are steps being taken in place, once a warning, even the first warning, that if they're seeing that, you know, steps are taken by the actual owner of the livestock, then, you know, they're trying to just take that into account, that you're being a responsible owner of that livestock and doing something about it. But if they're seeing that nothing is done, and I think they know that if it's within a certain given period of time, that's when the second warning kicks in, and trying to make sure, again, that steps are being taken.
Okay.
more questions?
I think the timeline that was talked about at the meeting was a timeline on how many times it occurred. If it was
Within a given period of time.
within a year or within 10 years.
Mhm.
Was the timeline. You're wanting a timeline that you've been caught, the cattle are out, and you're saying now after that, can I have a week before you would issue a penalty for that, so I can fix the fence, or whatever, 2 weeks or a month or a year, whatever, to fix it. So it's a couple different
That's a different
scenarios that I
situation.
think are being referenced here.
I don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah, well, it depends on probably how much work is gonna be required to fix it, you know? I mean, I would wanna think that, you know, we're giving the amount of time to be able to address again that issue, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, I'm not sure.
I'll be honest with you, this is all about being a responsible livestock owner. If you don't have fences, you shouldn't have livestock until you have the fences. I really wasn't into the 2 prior warnings, I was more of a 0 tolerance. You should have your things in place before you get the livestock. If it were up to me, but there are 3 of us here, so.
Well, I'm thinking, for example, our chickens, we let them free range in our yard. Sometimes they walk on the road, down the road. If they get hit, they get hit, and we have liability insurance to cover. I mean, if their car gets affected by a chicken or a guinea or something. So I'm thinking, well, how do I fence in my yard, you know? It's only 1 or 2 or 3 chickens that walk on the road, and I guess I have 300 plus chickens that are free range. I guess I'm not gonna put up a fence for three chickens that walk on the road, but, so.
I just like to say though that you're being a responsible farmer by having insurance and being understanding. You know, that's a given there. I mean, that's the way it should be. Where there are some that have no regard for anybody else.
That's what this ordinance is pointed at, not somebody that's doing something, although if you're considered responsible to turn them loose and just have insurance, I'm not sure that's it either. You can build a fence to keep them off the road.
They fly.
Well,
I don't clip wings.
but if you're getting free range, you know, when somebody runs through your herd of chickens, number one, I don't think anybody's intended to do that. But number two, you've ruined their day too, you've ruined their car. There's insurance, but there's always a cost and inconvenience for the people that it happens to. But again, this ordinance is directed at habitual, not anybody that's trying.
To do the right thing, you know, as a livestock owner,
Right. Right.
Wendy raised a really interesting point, that one that we didn't really address, because we did talk about adding the language to classify this as a habitual violator. And I think that we accomplished that with the 2 prior warnings. I guess your situation is unique a little bit in that I would hope that the sheriff or any law enforcement official would take that into consideration. They have indicated they would. The way I see the ordinance is really a public safety measure because of the many situations that we've already had, where we've had large animals on the road, and they have presented a distinct public safety hazard to tractors, cars, trucks, and that's what we're really at here. So I'm comfortable with the way it is, and believe that you won't be impacted by that, but it's hard to write everything into one of these. Is there any specific language you're thinking about?
No. I'm a law abider. At least I hope to think I am. And I don't want to get in trouble for practices that I do as a farmer.
We
So
understand. We appreciate that you come back and that you are farming in Floyd County. We appreciate that. But what we're trying to do again is trying to protect other situations that are happening. Where again, it's more those that are not, you know, doing the right thing and continually not giving, again, I think our law enforcement center a little bit more leverage, you know, to be able to do something about it. If there's no other comments, I guess I would make a motion to go ahead and waive the 3rd reading.
I think the proper motion would be to approve the,
And approve
The second
the
reading.
ordinance as written right now.
and waive the second.
And wait
Okay.
the 3rd.
Okay. So again, let me restate it. So I am making a motion to go ahead and approve ordinance 2017-2 and as written, and to go ahead and waive the 3rd reading on it.
And then approve the ordinance as final.
As final.
That's
I'll second the motion, and then we can discuss it some more. Is that all right?
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance the second reading of ordinance 2017-2 and waive the 3rd reading of it. More discussion.
We've discussed this many times, and I think we've come up with a very good ordinance. Is there you think there's other comment that, this is the first of a kind in the state of Iowa. Are you comfortable with having a second reading and this is it? Or would you like to discuss it any further? That's my question.
I'm certainly comfortable with passing it the way it is. If all of the comments, all of the correspondence I've had with the thing has been positive since the second one, and there is a Farm Bureau survey that ran for response at 79% were in favor of. So I'm comfortable doing it this way.
Just curious, how many people were actually surveyed of the 79%? 79%.
30.
I asked Randy Heights, I think he said 50 responded to that survey out of 300 members.
Well, that's pretty good.
This is Randy. Our members responded 30 in favor of the revised ordinance and 8 opposed, 79%.
38 total responded.
Yeah. Yep. So, any more discussion?
Well, if I had anything other than just a question, if I had any language that could really accommodate some of the concerns that I've heard today, I'd offer it. But I don't have anything that meets that question that you're raising, so, I'm gonna,
Okay.
resolve this issue as much as anyone else, so I'm ready to pass it.
Okay. Okay, with that, it's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2017-2 and waive the third reading of it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Motion carries.
Can I interrupt your meeting a
Sure.
little bit? I'd like to introduce Rod Hardman to you. Rod is the,
Rod Nording.
or Nording, sorry, Rod. He is the new executive, chief executive officer at the Floyd County Memorial Hospital. And I told him we'd all be here today if he wanted to stop in.
Sure.
If he could tell you a little bit about himself and meet you all.
Is this a good time?
This is probably good as any.
Okay.
If that's all right with the board.
So this is day 7 on the job, but I've been a Mayo Clinic administrator for 20 years, and very happy to be part of the Floyd County Medical Center, and the managers and the community have been very welcoming. And Gloria and I met before Bill departed and retired after 23 years of service, and I've actually met some folks that are in the room this morning also too. So again, just wanted to stop down and say hi.
Welcome to our community.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
We
Thank
have
you.
Supervisor Mark Ewan,
How are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Supervisor Doug Camp, and Supervisor Linda Jean.
Linda, okay.
It's good meeting with you.
Thank you.
We look forward to your letter every single year. There are no tax askings from your hospital.
Well, I appreciate that. I think you know.
Bill wrote us one every year.
Yep, and probably, as you know, if we were at the state average, it'd be $1 million in taxes. So that's
He
what
pointed
most of the
that out.
counties receive. Yeah, so yeah, we'll do our best.
Taxpayers of Floyd County like that letter.
Right,
That's
right.
right.
So
We're glad for the facility.
yeah, it's we've got a facility that we can be very proud of. Really good group. So
Great.
yeah. So I'll step out and apologize to the community.
Rod and I did talk, there are 2 commissioners that are up this year, and Paula and Myrna, and they both have said at their meeting just yesterday.
Yep, last evening,
uh,
at our monthly meeting,
would
they're
like
both
to run
interested in
again, so.
continuing, so
Yeah.
Good.
whatever
Great.
steps on that, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice meeting
Thanks
all
for
of you.
coming in.
Nice
Yes.
meeting you.
Okay.
Sorry
Moving
about
on
that. I told him we had a good time to catch up with you.
Item 9, which is concerned Dusty, the discussion regarding the collection site.
I don't know, we had this on, we talked to people briefly, but we wanted it on the agenda about, what the collection site is for and what we want, and is there any rule changes, like the landfill's gonna be changing any rules, and I don't know.
We don't have it all. There is, and I think it's evident that we are going to ban cardboard. I think it's said at the meetings that we've been talking about it, that we're the only landfill in the state of Iowa that doesn't ban cardboard. And it's just an effort to make everybody recycle more.
And as far as the site out there right now, I mean, we have an area for glass that recycles bin. We have an area for cardboard, paper, certain type of ammo. The other part is the garbage, which this is a rural garbage collection site. You know, we switched it, how it was run for the last 15 years was kind of, it ran itself. I really didn't get a lot involved with it because Gloria Troji at the time, she'd been there long enough that she kind of, it went. Now, whether the rules that are in place are the same rules technically that were there for years, but now we're starting to look at, are they being abused, or what is the site for, I guess? And I think, with Karen being new out there, she's trying to enforce the rules that I'm telling her, these are the rules.
Right.
And some people do not like that, hey, this is, we're gonna take a truckload of junk out there and throw it in. I've got pictures of a horse trailer full of anything you can find to try to throw it in there. Someone come out with a TV and place it in there, and she says, you're not supposed to do that, and then turn around and leave it and leave.
Right.
Things like that. Someone come out with, I don't know if they're butchering animals and come out with things full of blood. Like they were cleaning deer carcasses or things like that.
Well,
I don't know that this
happens
site is for that.
At the landfill, when somebody brings their TV, throws it in a dumpster, so when they're out there pushing that garbage around and compacting, they push that TV outside, and General is the one that always has to go out and pick it up and take it, so the haulers don't want. They're the ones that pay the price or have to go through the commotion of picking it up, and it's easy to get rid of them, well, it costs some money, but, I mean, there are numerous places that take them, do that.
And I know, I think, and I don't want to leave Karen out in left field here, and that's kind of where she kind of gets, some people don't like it, don't agree with it, they say she's mean, they say that, and I think they're just saying that, to be honest with you, because she's enforcing the rules that we have sort of set forth, and we want to stand by it. What is this? Is this the landfill? No, it's not. It's a garbage collection and small recycling thing. And I guess that's maybe, and I said all along, I said, well, I'll bring it up to the board can decide, what are we gonna do here? It's definitely a convenience. It's a convenience collection center for garbage and refuse. Not for cleaning out the attic of a house that has, if they threw it in a bag and brought it out there in a garbage bag, I'm not having Karen go through and filter through every garbage bag to make sure it is what I would consider garbage from a house. Now, like I said, I don't want her to do that. So if there's 10% of the people that bring stuff out there are gonna wanna say, hey, I'm throwing it in a bag and here's my garbage, yet we know they may be throwing stuff they shouldn't be, I'm not gonna be enforcing something that we can't see. But some people, when we first started this, bring a contained garbage can with a lid on it so that stuff wasn't flying everywhere. That was a concern at first, and then they take the lid off and dump it, and most of the stuff would go in there, and some of it would not, it'd fall down, of course you get it blown around and stuff like that. I went out there the other day, there was lawn chairs in there. Someone wanted to bring a recliner out there, and we're like, that's not what this is for. Construction debris was the biggest thing, probably, the last incident that happened a couple weeks ago. And I know I left messages for each of you, and I talked to you on the phone that same day. And people may not like that, but I'm sorry, I had my assistant just last Friday, truckload of stuff, he only took to the landfill, it cost him $10. To bring a truckload of stuff, you back it right up to their things and you dump it in there and it's gone for $10. And there's people that don't want to do that, maybe on the timing out there, but yet want to bring it here and then not follow these rules, I guess.
Well, a couple of the complaints that I did get, they were, and I explained to them, it's not a landfill, And he complained that the landfill was never open. Well, the landfill is open. During the summer, they're open at least one Saturday a month.
Right.
You know, so you can always schedule something, and I pointed out to him, you know, you can get a dumpster from General, a portable one, and they'll come and pick it up. You know, there's numerous different ways to handle it. And it's like I point out every year during our budget. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine, we just collect taxes and pay bills, but that budget for that site is $120,000.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much, it's like right
And
around
Chickasaw
100.
County spends $20,000 on theirs.
Yeah.
All they do is provide some recycling, no
And
garbage
I've
pickup. So it's a heck of a service, and I'm fine with it as long as rural services.
Right. You know, there's a lot of people that come out
Which
there and will
taxes?
sign, they live in town, and we know it, and they'll sign their parents' address out in the country.
Right,
Well,
that's right.
You know, so there's people that are beating the system a little bit, which,
Right.
again, that's fine by me. I took my parents' garbage from their house, I'm like, okay, how can I question that? You can't question that, Karen can't question that. So you put down that rural address, you put it in there, and they put it, but to me, you know, I thought the contained unit thing was gonna work, but now people bring a contained unit, which is the back of a pickup truck, that was Karen's question to me. Is that considered a contained unit in the back of a pickup truck with the topper on it? And I'm like,
well, again, that's at the landfill, you know, if you don't have a charcoal, you don't get to go in there.
you know, I know
Yeah.
TVs, like you said, places will take TVs.
Right.
Personally, I have,
Yeah.
you go through TVs a lot. I do personally, I have, you know, in the past, but I can bring mine to Best Buy, pay them $10, they'll take it and give me a $10 gift card. So it really was a wash as long as I buy something from Best Buy.
Yeah.
I don't know why, you know, people just don't care, don't wanna go that route or don't wanna pay the $10 to get rid of it, I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of responsibility and things like this, you know, if, you know, we can hold tight here a little bit longer, you know, trying to keep enforcing these rules, but, you know, when people get upset because you brought a truckload of
Well,
drywall and things like that, and he says, well, I could just sit outside the gate here and bust up this drywall and put it in a bag and you wouldn't know. Yes, you could. Again, we're not gonna filter through that garbage bag. So, you know,
I guess one of my recommendations is she has a set of rules that are on that printed piece of paper,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'm all for getting printed and having them quarter much or
Signage.
somebody.
And we got
print 'em and
a
put 'em
couple
right
of
out there on
ideas.
that gate where you
Right,
can
and
see
you
it.
talk-
we got a couple
about that
ideas
too.
from the sign place there, at least
Yeah.
making it a little
Right.
bigger so we can see it. You know, we've handed out hundreds of copies of this sheet,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I just, and I told her, I said, you know, when someone doesn't like that answer.
Parents' garbage, you can just point, here's the sign right there.
Yeah, and, you know, there's gonna be people that are gonna wanna, you know, throw it in. To me, you know, the comment wasn't that the contained unit was just like, well, I just have my garbage can there and I do this. Well, I'll be honest with you, if I'm at home and I left that for General to come pick up, because personally I live out in the country where General picks up my garbage. I pay them $26 a month. I don't have to separate, I do my own separating on my own. And then, but if I just had a garbage can there full of debris, they wouldn't take it because it has to be in bags. I mean, it reminds me a lot of like some of the cities when they have garbage pickup and you are required to buy orange bags or these bags. We're not requiring that, but, you know, at that point, it would be so much simpler to say everything that comes out there has to be in a plastic bag. I don't know if that's right or wrong, to be honest with you. I'm just throwing these ideas out there, you guys. I'm more
Well, the
indifferent,
reason,
but.
you know, if you back up and go through the reason that Charles City has the orange bags, it was, and Keith could probably add a little bit to that, but that was to ease some budget concerns because the money that you pay for the bag, instead of just a flat fee for everybody, the money you pay for the bag offsets some of the costs, and that way, some of the people who don't use that service, maybe an elderly person or something, wasn't absorbing the whole cost.
Sure, you pay for the
And
bag
that
that
was
covers
the
some of the
reason
cost.
for selling those orange bags.
And I think Karen just needs a little direction, and I'm telling her, I said, well, do this, and then of course when people don't like that answer, because they're taking, like I said, construction debris, you know, I mean, this has been trying to
Right.
make it simple as a simple garbage collection site. And a couple of recycling things, you know, there's a lot of people that, I'd say 99% of everybody's probably pretty good. There's a couple percent that just seem like.
It's just, that makes it difficult.
And it's hard, and then they get
As long as-
upset when she's trying to enforce the rules, and I
Right.
say, Karen, I mean, I understand that, and
Yeah.
I said, we just need to all be on the same page, between her and me telling her what, and then as long as you guys are on the same page, I mean, I'm open to whatever, we wanna, you know, introduce a whole nother
Yeah, and I was out
garbage,
there that night and talked to Ray.
construction, refuse pickup area, then, that's what, but that's what the landfill's right there.
She was put in a pretty uncomfortable situation by somebody in that was out of line, and then I told her, her job is just to run the thing, not to be the enforcement, and just call 911.
And he didn't like that answer.
Nobody should be intimidated by
That
somebody
person did not
else.
like that answer, and I told her, I said, you don't hesitate and call if you feel uncomfortable, because right now, and that was the other thing that was brought up to me, is there is no protection for her out there, you guys.
Well, and
There's no
when I
alarm
went
system,
out there, I
There's
talked
no
to her about
cameras,
that too.
no lights.
I know.
I mean, we have the one floodlight,
And one light,
and the winter is coming, when it gets darker, and she's open till 6.
right.
It's gonna be dark at 5. you know.
I had concerns about that, and I know when I spoke to her too.
And so that's why I've always told her, I said, if you feel uncomfortable, call. What's gonna happen is they can come out and it's really a do about nothing, and then at least documentation to the fact of some sort of report written up that,
Does Chickasaw
Right.
County have garbage and recyclable
Nope.
pickup?
All they have is they pay Genro to take recycling trailers to various sites.
spots, and you know what, I live in Chickasaw, and I don't even know where those are.
One day, well, I talked to,
There's some east of town, I think, or there was some,
I think that's what Tim's old.
and now there are, they're just there.
I think
and it's
it's
When do they
self-serving.
pick up?
They go to every town for recycling once a week.
Every so often, yeah,
Yeah. So you can take your recycling, but it's not for garbage.
and, right, it's
But do
just,
they do
it's just
garbage pickup?
recycling, I think.
Right.
Right.
Right, it's just recycling.
And it's by more honor, I think, because I think they drop it off, and I don't
As
think
far
there's
as
anybody
garbage,
maintaining
you're
it,
on
they're
your
just
own
there.
over there.
So if somebody comes out to the site and they've got a TV or anything else, is Karen providing them, the information of where they can go?
Isn't
with
that on that?
Because I would hope that then we're saying, I appreciate that you have something, but, here's possible options.
There's
For any items not
building-
accepted at the Floyd County collection site, please contact the Floyd Mitchell Chickasaw landfill. Right there. It just, that's
There's
the
another
option that they
building
have.
that's north of the trailer, and it actually belongs to the landfill. and it's part
Right,
of
that's for
the-
hazardous waste.
That's for hazardous waste.
And that's by appointment only.
That's right.
And we thought about posting those things too, but the landfill does not want that. They want the person
I
to
know
call the
they-
landfill to set up an appointment so that if there's not a lot of hazardous waste going in, they're not coming there to look for hazardous waste that really never shows up.
Right.
So that's why they want it by calling only an appointment
Right.
on the hazardous waste part of it. But I'm assuming the landfill will take TVs, or do they not, if you pay a fee?
The same thing they charge.
Charge fee.
Charge.
Yeah.
But
That's why they
again,
end up in the
that might
ditches.
be-
Right.
And that's why we're picking them up on the taxpayers' dollars and collecting them, and then we get them disposed of with complete CAD or, CAD and stuff. But,
You will, same thing.
and that's why I always
The
tell people,
TVs.
just go to Best Buy, bring it down there for $10, they'll take it, and they give you a $10 gift card, and then I go buy a CD
We
that I was
did
gonna
lower
buy.
the rate, we talked about this a long time. A flat screen, a 32-inch flat screen TV that only weighs 5 pounds shouldn't be the same as a monster
Big one?
console. But anyway, we want to lower the price on all of it. Is it just $5, maybe $5? In hopes that the price was gonna be cheap and we would just absorb some of that in hopes that,
They'd
because
stop
every
ending
single
up in the
county
ditches.
winds up with them in their ditches.
Right.
Yep.
So in Chickasaw County, they have recyclable places staggered around the county somewhere.
Sure.
But do they do garbage pickup then, at the curb, there used to be buckets out on the,
In town?
no,
maybe?
in the country.
Country?
Rural.
Boy, I do that right now, I'm in the country technically.
And you have a bin.
I pay Gendro. No, I just do my garbage can, I'm allowed 3 or 4 30-gallon bags
But
per
Gendo's
week.
comes around then and picks it up.
Yep, I contract directly with Gendro. I deal exactly with Gendro, it doesn't go through anybody else, I mean, so.
Oh, I
You know,
thought
so
that was
Gendro
a-
kinda picks up-
Generals has an open recycling thing anytime, they don't restrict rural or red.
I'm not talking recycling, time garbage.
Yeah,
So all those, when you drive around the county and you see the garbage buckets, whatever,
Well, in my
Containers,
subdivision, which is rural,
those are
they,
people that are contracted with Gendos to get
I
rid of
say I
it.
pay $26 a month directly to Gendro.
I see.
in my subdivision, they do that, it's one day a week or something, go around it.
Mine's always like this morning, Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And if you clean
Yeah,
something
that's-
out, it's all in garbage bags, I get charged extra, like the one time we were gone a weekend and I forgot to put it out. So the next week I had like 5 or 6. They charged me a couple extra bucks per bag, so.
Nothing contracted through the county to get rid of garbage. So does Chickasaw have a lot of garbage in the ditches and stuff then?
Probably just as much as here, to be honest with you.
So-
Yeah. Maybe we want to feel out what the landfill does after the next meeting too. I mean, you know, we
As
keep
far
going
as
with the
the
rules that are
cardboard?
sort of there. I don't want to go print these. I mean, I'll print up some big ones that won't cost that much to get a couple things, because really there is nothing there as far as that, other than the sheet she was handing out. So my thinking was is to print something, but I said I don't want to print a bunch of these things out and then find out we're gonna change rules and bag only, or, and even the box isn't bad.
Well, when it comes back to hazardous waste, the reason that they do that is there's two of the 4 that are especially trying to go get that hazardous waste. And if they set up those times, you know, it's always on a Saturdays, that when people are available. So they send them down there on overtime, and then they sit there and nothing happens, and that's why they ask for that scheduling thing. There's one of those buildings over in Chickasaw County, it used to be at the old, south of town, the old county home. And there's one up there at just west of Osage. There's one in every county for that. And they also go over to Winnebago landfill and do their hazardous waste over there. You know?
And like I said, the big thing with this is like, you know, we've changed the rules somewhat, but we haven't, but on here, I mean, to even say, if they are not boxed or bagged, they must be tarped to prevent blowing the waste items. Waste can also be brought in a contained unit as long as the loose items do not end up outside the garbage bin. You know, there, I mean, that's why someone come with a pickup load, or I've got a picture of them with a, like I said, a horse trailer full, and it was contained, sort of, but when you start emptying it, it's like, what are we throwing out here? And I guess it comes down again to that a couple handful of people just don't like we're enforcing these rules.
You know, I keep going back to a budget item. I mean, it's obvious. We're only comparing to Chickasaw County, but it's obvious we spend a lot of money, or we're spending a lot of rural service money to maintain that site out there.
Over 100,000 a year.
So when is your next
Yeah.
landfill meeting?
We didn't have one this month for lack of items. Thought it would be this week. Next week.
So like Dusty said, do we want to wait, you know, until you have your next meeting just to confirm that there's no changes?
You mean as far as the only thing that's gonna change is the cardboard.
But again, I mean, if that impacts anything that he's putting on his,
You know, and quite frankly, it's the same thing, I hate to bring it up with the livestock ordinance, there's only a few abusers. And where it really comes from, what they're really aiming at is the big construction stuff. You know, like somebody building a new store, you know, they throw wood and pallets and plastic and, you know, there'll be cardboard, just tons of cardboard from big items. When, you know, if you got a cardboard box that's soaked with oil, or there's other parameters, you know, if it's not recyclable, it still goes in the garbage, but if it shows up in, you know, they picked it up at a business and it shows up there, then it always goes back to the hauler, you know, general. And it's the same way when they pull a box out of Floyd County and it winds up there with a TV set. General is always the one that has, or the hauler. You know, no matter where it comes from, the hauler is always one that has to take care of that. So they're not looking for it either.
so.
I mean, my verbiage here on, you know, if it's not boxed or bagged, must be tarped to prevent blowing. I mean, I almost need to eliminate that anyways. Because to me, it should be boxed or bagged.
Boxed or bag.
And
Keep it more
yeah, the
simple.
tarp thing is fine if perhaps something were to bust loose a little bit, but to me, that's a moot point in my book. I'm thinking it should be boxed or bagged. Then out of sight, out of mind. We're not enforcing
Right.
any rules that we don't know the difference on, that
Right.
it's
Right.
garbage. And then obviously these list the recycled things that they do take. I don't know, I don't want to leave Karen out in left field, that's the hardest part.
And I don't either. I mean, it was enlightening going out there and just watching her that one Saturday and just
She gets
seeing
busy.
the activities. She is extremely busy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, on Saturdays she was.
You know, literally, that thing has been there long enough. Sometimes, it's almost a social,
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't call it an event, but a social interaction for some people, you know, to take your garbage to does recycling.
But I
Heard of
would,
that.
I would agree, I
Collection
think
site.
if we can keep that verbiage, you know, down to box bag, you know, to prevent, I mean, there's windy days, we're in a windy
Yeah,
county.
yeah. And she goes around and
And-
picks things up that blow away, and then
Right.
how much, you know, falls underneath because it's not boxed or bagged.
Right.
It's underneath there, and she goes, I get a broom or a shovel out, and I'm trying to clean up
But it would,
underneath there,
it
and
would
I'm
keep
like,
it easier for her too, I mean, it's very simple then at that point, but, you know.
well, I guess I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll look at the verbiage a little bit, and then maybe I can talk to you guys individually and or see if the landfill changes anything, and
I think that's the very first thing, we should have those rules posted right on the outside of
but
that.
I really, and reason we're talking about now is like, I'm almost thinking that they need to be boxed or bagged.
Yeah,
I mean, then it's, if the couple people that want to bring stuff there, construction debris, whatever, and it's in a box or bag and we don't know the difference, I'm not forcing Karen to dig into anything. Those are people that are doing something they maybe shouldn't be bringing there, but it's in there and it's done.
but if we do make that change, we need to give the residents of Floyd County enough warning, you know.
Yeah,
So
what
that
I'd
way
probably
at
do
least
would say,
they understand it and
well,
when
here's,
it's gonna take.
you know, we're in
effect.
August now, what I'd say, starting January 1st, things need to be boxed or bagged only.
Yeah.
And, you know, continue to me, what do I do at home and my garbage is over, you know, I do my cat boxes in there too, but when it starts breaking loose, what do? I put a bag over the garbage bag that's in the garbage can, and then I tip it up and put it in a more stronger bag,
Right.
and then now it's all contained in a bag. So if someone is bringing a garbage can that they just throw their debris in, they usually take the lid off, put a bag over it, tip it upside down, and bring it in a
It's
bag.
in a bag.
It's not rocket science per se, I mean, it's just one of those that to me makes a little better sense that it's, and then it's more plain and simple that, and I don't have a problem with the boxes either, to be honest with you. What's the difference between the enclosed, as long as the box is sealed up? Put it in there, and there's nothing, not less falling around, and, but you're right, it would be something we could transition starting
Absolutely.
January 1st.
So
We're
there's
gonna
no
only accept things in
surprises.
boxes and bags, and then we'll print things accordingly,
Yeah.
new sheet.
The other
But maybe you
thing-
guys wanna think about it a little more, maybe you guys got individually, you wanna email me or call, but I mean, to me, I'm thinking, we gotta
Yes.
eliminate this, they must be you know, that was one thing, because I mean, back in the day, I'm assuming people were bringing truckloads of stuff, and, but, you know, it's for what it is.
Yeah.
It's a collection, garbage collection site, small recycling area.
But again, I think then arm
glass,
her
the
with more
paper.
information too, that if somebody does bring something and wants to get rid of something that isn't really part of what we're doing, to be able to give her the information she can provide, so that way at least people
Yeah, I
understand.
can easily, you know, make sure that this is pointed out, that anything that's not accepted,
Here's your
somehow
options.
highlight it or something.
And the other thing, just so you know, I did tell her too, to try and do what she can to keep her cell phone with her at all times, so that situation, she had no way of even, I mean, I understand how concerned she was, but she didn't have a phone,
She was flustered,
yeah,
and
so.
right, wrong,
Just
different.
for your information, I gave her your cell phone number and your cell phone number and my cell phone, Jeff Kurtz and Brian Tegelin's, so she got it.
And she has mine,
That's
but I was
exactly
up
what
in, I was up in Minneapolis.
That's
ready
exactly
to
what
get
I
on a
told her, I
plane.
says, you keep your phone with you all the time and don't be afraid to call 911.
Well, and I don't think, and people have to realize that, and I want to bring it up here since we're in a public setting here, that people have to realize that her, by calling 911, maybe not be just because someone's doing something wrong. It's more of, I'm the only one here and we need to make sure that we're all understanding that what the situation is. If I were to go out there, or one of you were to go out there, or a deputy or something go out there, it's to find out what's going on. Cause a report, or at least understanding that we're trying to follow these rules, they don't like that rule, well, sorry, these are the rules. Or maybe that it's just something we go through, but it's not, someone's wrong in this case, I want to point that out. It's
Right.
more of an understanding that she has an option, because right now, there is no option for her. Call.
Right.
You know, it's been really good having the deputies do walkthroughs through the courthouse on a regular basis now. What if they stopped out at the landfill every once in a while, just to have a presence out there and like help her?
Perhaps the
with
next
security?
department meeting, well, because Jeff hasn't been down much, but I can talk to Jeff on the side when I see him, maybe. And visit with Karen so that she's aware that maybe stop out just to see how things go.
Again, I get
After-
concerned, she is,
I did
it's
talk to
one
Jeff
person,
about
whether it's
that.
her or the other people that are doing,
The
you
subs,
know,
yeah.
helping too, it's not just her.
I did talk
it's-
to Jeff after that thing and they're very much aware and said that they were gonna drive by, stop by.
Okay.
But that's a great,
But,
great
yeah.
comment.
Well, I guess moving forward then, I mean, to me, I mean, I think if you wanna look at, I might, you know, leave it as boxed and bagged. I mean, I wanna make sure that's okay with you guys, because that does put a little
I think
bit
it's a
of
lot
a,
cleaner.
and then we'll do a timeline, like I said, you know, we got time, we're in August now, we're not gonna say, boy, next week you gotta be doing this, because a lot of people won't know. I mean, give it the cycle of a quarter of a year and say, starting January 1st.
Well, it's the same way with the
Maybe she
cardboard.
could have flyers to
Right.
give to people out there too.
I'll be going through and printing off what's allowed out there as far as, I mean, because this simply tells you what is accepted, you know, that the, and then some stuff that is not accepted. So I'll make sure that these are correct, and then just state that it's gotta be boxed or bagged, and if it's not, if it's a bunch of junk in the back of a pickup truck, it's really not what that's for. It's for garbage pickup and this small recycle, 2 little bins for recycle.
Well, even if they did, you know, come out and it was tarped in the back end, they can still go, like you said. It's not like we're saying no, just go bag it, you
Right,
know.
right, and that's just it, it
Yeah.
spearheads off the fact that she is allowing this bag in that box.
Mhm.
You know, I went up there today and there's hoses and a couple of lawn chairs, and I'm like, really?
It's the same conversation we're having at the landfill. It's not drop dead today. It was over a.
Right, as long as I'll get some signs printed up, but I might correct everything, make sure you guys are aware how I word it, and maybe I'll just email you a copy of it, and if you guys got concerns, we can do that, but that'll give us time to transition into something like that.
Okay.
And I'll visit with Karen on that, and I'll talk to the
Good.
sheriff too.
Is there a
about just
landline
stopping.
out there? A land,
Yes,
a phone?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, there is. And her son.
But again, it's in
If the landfill's not gonna take cardboard anymore, is that gonna cause any additional recycling bin? at
Well, that's what I'm worried
the
about printing that off and all of a sudden saying then, hey, well, you know. hard-
Well, I can ask Alan about that. He's got those.
People are
It's
recycling
what they
cardboard
use in
anyway.
Chickasaw County,
The
those
recycling, yes.
recycling trailers. I
Yeah.
think that's what they use over there. They pull those recycling trailers, you know, they got different doors for bottles and cans.
That's confusing me.
I could ask
Because I do
Alan
not
about
recycle that, but
If you have cardboard.
that's just
Well, I'm-
recycling. There's certain
I'm glad
type
we
of
had
cardboard
this
we don't
discussion.
take and stuff like that, and this one does have, where like flattened boxes must be flat inside and bin must cut down to fit. Paper, magazines, cardboard, but yeah. I gotta make sure we know what we're putting off here, but you're right, it might be something, maybe I just drag my feet just a little bit, I'll talk to Karen, and then if we hear more from the landfill, then I can get this stuff done. That gives us a little time to go down with it, but I just figured, let's try to all be on the same page is the biggest thing I want to bring it up here with you guys.
Sounds good.
Any more? Discussion on that? Okay. Item 10, discussion with county engineer about secondary roads. Activities.
Day labor projects, box culvert on 235th, we set that a couple weeks ago. That's just east of the county line. We're doing small flood repairs, are basically been wrapping up, nothing too crazy. We didn't have crazy a lot of damage here, we just had some culverts that showed up. T26 north of Marble Rock, that's slow going, but we're getting there, but slow going. What we're discovering is that a lot of the road, like I might have said this before a couple weeks ago, that a lot of that road bed was made out of the mud that was out there before it was a road. So actually, you know, when our bids came in at $3.5 million, we're probably gonna have, and we were estimated at 4.5, and now that we're digging into it, we're doing a lot of extra work on it, probably about $700,000–800,000 worth. So, but that's all not local money, that's all my farm to market account, but now's the time to make the subgrade correct before we pave it. So right now, tentative schedule, depending on everything, they're started at the south end, they're coming up, they're over halfway on the grade work. Probably, we're looking at paving about the week of September 18th, tentative.
It's coming up.
Yeah, it'll slowly get there, so transitioning just to that subgrade work is the biggest stuff right now. And then what they're doing is they're also backfilling a lot of the black dirt along the way as they're going. Because of the timeline on the rules and regulations that if something stands for too long, you have to put temporary seating down. So we decided to change ship, you know how the good rules are here. That they decided we're gonna bring in the permanent black dirt and then do permanent seating rather than doing temporary until we do the permanent. So we kind of changed some timeline around on that stuff, which makes sense. Been talking with the school on that, at least so they know that there's 2 pickups there, I think Rachel's house and then Parcher's at the south end. For Rachel's, I have to talk to her yet, but the school, we're working on those details.
Over the bridge backwater workshop.
I went down to that on Tuesday. Basically, everything that we use now for a lot of our designs uses stream stats. And then go through that as a 1-day course that they talk about. Sizing culverts, sizing bridges, making sure everything, because there's new rules and regulations on backwater.
One of our questions south of Rockford, south of the school, where that water stands beside the road.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with that?
No. I went to that, I did it about 10 years ago, and some of the rules changed. And now this new stream stats program is pretty cool. You click on any waters of the US or anywhere out there, and you click on it, it tells you all the acres that flow into that. They didn't have to
Really?
do much thinking anymore. Kind of pops up. 170th Street Bridge right now, that should be finalized as far as right of way up there. That's the one that will be constructed next summer.
Otherwise known as Frankie's Bridge.
Correct. We're working on those details. That was all where it had to be. It's a different type of purchase than what we have done in the past, because we usually get smaller acres, and if it's more than a certain dollar amount, then you have to go through a whole appraisal system to get to that point of purchasing. So those details are being worked out. Meeting next week, I think, on the Ethanol Road. Those check plans and all that have to be in October 4th, I believe, we're lighting that in January. You know, we were early and then we kind of pushed it back a little. But we'll keep moving forward with that. Contract rock has all been finished now across the county. And boy, that's the main stuff, I guess.
Painting roads, and I've seen a lot of work.
All the
being
pavement
done
markings,
there.
that was the other thing, right? We did finish that. That should be wrapping up right now. The symbols were the last things to be done.
Did you ever get that?
Single western, not yet, no. Last picture I'll show you because we're talking about pavement markings in county. Reminds me of a couple of jokes back then. It's on the Rockford Road after they did the pavement markings. Usually they got the broom out there, and for some reason they must have just missed it. They went over top of it, but everybody was just happened to run over a pavement markings. That's one of those jokes where like, so at least they didn't go and outline it. Dead peasant. So that was kind of the humor of that one. But, I don't think I have much else. The drainage over on 190th over there, when Alf Martin came in,
Yes.
he
Yes.
came in and bought a pipe and put a new crossroad in himself. So, right next to the other one. But
Dear Lord.
he put in one right next to. I'm like, okay.
All right.
Yeah, other than that, you guys just keep plugging along with that project. Project is a big thing, and we get, through that and gear up for, I hate to say winter, but, we'll kind of get ready, but
Shaking prediction, mild winter.
good. After the flood years we've been having, it's just like,
Yeah.
you can't get, I have it worse in Chickasaw. I had a lot more damage twice last year, and then once again this year, worse than here. I've got about $350,000 worth of damage this year in Chickasaw, where I only had about 50 here. So I can't catch up from last year, let alone catch up
Feel
from
sorry
this
for
year.
Chickasaw, but that's good for Floyd County.
Yeah. So, but we're plugging along, so.
Okay.
And then you're leaving for ISAC?
Yes, I'll be going down sometime tomorrow.
Great.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 11.
Actually, no, because we approved the agenda to talk about that approval for supporting. Don't want to forget that.
Yeah. Item 10A would be a letter of support for City of Charles City for a grant request, I think is what they're calling it. Anyway, I got this correspondence from Steve Beers.
Right. And again, I mean, all they're looking for is just a letter of support from the county supervisors. And I would think this is a good thing that we should do for them.
Pretty much mirrors what we've been doing for, the way I understand this, the city of, and Keith can probably add a little bit to this, the city of Charles City is gonna update their sewer treatment plant to the tune of $16 million. And there is, as part of that, they get a 10% grant that can be used for water resource restoration.
Generally, yes.
So, he didn't, there is not a,
We don't have a draft,
Sample.
well, we talked
Or
about,
what?
yeah, getting a draft, and I do believe that and what I'd like to do is say, again, there was a timing on this that they needed the letter by, which is August 28th, I believe. And since we don't typically meet again until after that
Right.
day, which is why I wanted to amend and add this to our agenda for today.
yeah, what he's got in here, resolutions.
August 30th.
August 30th. So, with that, I guess what we could do is approve, make a motion to approve, creating that letter of support, and just know that we want that done, and then it could be provided, I guess, to the chair for signing.
You good, right? You wanna write it? You wanna write it?
Well, I think they have
Okay.
a letter that they can draft even for us, but,
We've done
Okay.
other letters of support,
Okay.
maybe we can pull something.
okay, all right. So Supervisor Kuhn? Then, okay. All right, so I will make a motion then to go ahead and approve a letter of support being written to help the city with trying to pay for their $16 million wastewater treatment plant project. And with that, once it is written by Supervisor Kuhn, to have Chair Supervisor Cam sign it.
Okay, fine,
Okay,
I can do that. Second.
all right.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to offer a letter of support to the city of Charles City for water resource projects that they're doing, authored by Supervisor Kuhn and signed by Chairman Camp. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And
Thanks for the reminder. Now we're at,
that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
okay? I'll second that. We are adjourned.